extension. How are you gonna do that? You're gonna take the pommel, put it on your thigh, and then take the cantle and stress it. Okay? Shouldn't bend. Should be no flexion there. Should not move. I have heard several people tell me that there was a broken tree on the ABCA test, so I don't have an example to show you, unfortunately. You will, all I've got to say is you will know it. It will bend. There is not supposed to be any bend, and it will bend a lot. It will like break over your knee. So that's a broken tree. And what do you do with a broken tree?
Throw it away.
Thank you. Okay. So once you've evaluated the tree, then you're going to evaluate the underside of the saddle. So you're going to take a look at the sheepskin on the western trees, and you can kind of see how this saddle's got a lot of wear right here. So right off the go, I wonder, whatever horse this has been ridden on, if there's a lot of compression here, and this saddle may be prone to what?
Sliding.
Rocking. Boom again. Jesse's on the ball today.
Is rocking not the same as sliding?
You win. Come on, go.
Rocking, sliding.
I was thinking it's like sliding on the sliding side.
You ever sat in a rocking chair?
Yeah.
Rocking?
Yeah.
All right, so
It's like the rocking.
you're gonna feel on, and you can kind of see the tree. You can see the outline of the tree, kind of in the sheepskin, right? You can kind of see, get an impression of where that tree stops. But you're gonna look at that sheepskin, feel for thicknesses. You can feel how hard it is right there compared to up here, how much softer. There's still some cushion there. This sheepskin does expire over time, right? So this sheepskin is not good forever. It's just like leather as well. Leather wears out over time, so there is a part where sheepskin, same with, we'll talk about girths here in a minute, but that sheepskin, those sheepskin girths wear out over time, and the effect, that squishy effect goes away.
What about Western saddles that have felt undersides?
Same thing.
Okay.
You know, they'll wear, like, because you can't wash this very well. That's where saddle pads and Western come in a lot, because you're trying to really keep the felt or the sheepskin clean. Felt is a little bit easier to clean. You can actually buy felt like cleaners, but you also have to watch that it doesn't get compressed. Like, it compresses a lot. So sometimes you might have to take it to a saddle maker and have this stripped off and refelted or reskinned as far as the bottom of the saddle is concerned. But another thing, if you look at this saddle, see how much wear there is right there at the bottom of the seat? So most of your saddle stands are built like horses, right? Like these are pretty fantastic. And you can see how none of these saddle stands are causing these saddles to sit on the gullet. So whenever I see a lot of wear right there, right away it tells me that there's a really good chance that this saddle doesn't have enough gullet clearance. So you can see that also this saddle comes almost down ventrally at the base of the tree back here underneath the seat too. So those are some indicators that I would be checking the saddle for the gullet as soon as I put it on the horse. So that's some things to look for underneath on a Western saddle. Questions about any of that?
You said you can get the sheepskin and stuff replaced on those?
You can,
those?
yeah, yeah. You just gotta find a saddle maker that'll do it. Pommel, okay, pommel with the horn, cantle, gullet. Those are your big things there, okay? Then we have our English. So again, you're gonna look down. I like to look down and see if there's good symmetry. A lot of these that have flocking, they're not gonna be symmetrical over time. You're gonna have, like, because horses aren't symmetrical, and the flocking is gonna change depending on the symmetry of the horse. And when you don't have a symmetrical horse, that flocking is gonna end up being not symmetrical. It's good if you're using it on one horse and it changes over time and you get it reflocked and you're using it for that one horse, but if one horse is symmetrical one way and one horse is asymmetrical another way, and then you try to use that same saddle, sometimes you can run into problems. So that's where kind of that padding system comes in, where I can use the same saddle on different horses with a different style padding system. But you're gonna feel on this, you can feel this gives pretty well on this saddle. You're gonna feel for any major lumps or bumps, you know, with the flocking underneath these panels, and get a good feel for the different styles. You can look at all these panels and see how different a lot of them are. Some of them are flatter and longer and wider. Some of them are really round and very narrow. So you can get a sense of the different style panels that you're gonna run into. Another thing that's really important, you can actually see, so here's that nail, here's one nail up here. This is how they measure the width. This is another nail that happens at the very tip of the tree, and you can actually see the end of the tree in the saddle, okay? That's the important part right here, is where that shoulder is gonna go, okay? So that point of that tree is really, really important. If you are running out of padding here and that tree is digging into that horse, it's not a good thing. Any questions about that?
Do you still do the checking the tree with the knee
Yes.
and everything on an
Yeah.
English as well?
Pommel on the knee, cantle, put pressure. It should not move,
Okay.
it shouldn't budge, okay?
Okay.
Any questions about that? So there are a conglomerate of saddles in here. I want you to play with them around a little bit, practice testing the trees on them so you get comfortable doing that, playing with that, especially because you're not gonna feel one that's not normal here. Feel many normals so that when you do come across a not normal one, you will know the difference, okay? Also with the Western saddles, if you aren't familiar with Western or you're not familiar with English or vice versa, take a look at these saddles, pick them up, handle them a little bit. They are very, very different. If you're used to handling Western saddles, these will feel like nothing, so be careful you don't throw them across the room. Any questions? One thing I do want, this saddle here has a foam panel. That Steuben has a nice foam panel, that bright yellow one. And that Wintec up there, that dark one right above the Steuben, has an air panel. So you can try and feel the differences in those. Most of these are wool. Make sure that the numbers on them match what's on the wall, just so we make sure they stay where they're supposed to go.